To you and welcome to Radio Nigeria South South Zonal News at 3. The headlines: Appeal Court gives go ahead for scheduled People's Democratic Party convention. Analysts call for the development of a second city in Bielsa State. Schools to reopen in Uganda after almost 2 years of closure due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Today's commentary is on suits in Nigeria and its health effects. Details in a moment. Stay with us. Let us dialogue to preserve Nigeria's unity. My name is Rachel Onah with the news. Now the news in full. The Court of Appeal sitting in Port Harcourt has dismissed a suit filed by the suspended national chairman of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), Prince Uche Secondus, seeking to restrain the party from holding its 2021 national convention. The three-man appeal panel, led by Justice Haruna Samani, noted that the PDP has the legal right to hold conventions periodically, and as such, the party's convention, scheduled for October 30 and 31, will hold. Prince Secondus has filed a suit before the appeal court seeking to halt the convention of the party until the appeal against his suspension is heard. Analysts in Bielsa want the government to immediately begin the development of another city alongside the state capital, Yenagoa. In different interviews in Yenagoa on this year's World Cities Day, they called for a city with an implementation master plan and facilities that could compare to some of the most beautiful cities across the world. Correspondent Agberowe Arumo reports that the analysts faulted the state government on its failure to strictly adhere to the development master plan of Yenagoa. The report. Staff of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC) have been urged to imbibe ethical values and eschew corrupt tendencies at work. Resource persons at a two-day sensitization workshop for public servants in NDDC gave the advice during the workshop held at the Presidential Hotel, Port Harcourt, Rivers State. Correspondent Gabriel Okechukwu has the details. Poor diagnostic services arising from inadequate processes and human resources, as well as infrastructure deficiency, have been identified as factors responsible for the perennial capital flight to medical tourism and brain drain in the country. A professor of hematology at the Faculty of Medical Laboratory Sciences, University of Calabar, Professor Anthony Emeribe, stated this at the inaugural lecture of the institution in Calabar. Correspondent Michael Apang was there for Radio Nigeria. Akwa Ibom State government has expressed its readiness to partner foreign businesses that are interested in investing in the state economy. The state governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel, made this known when he played host to a delegation of an American-based company at Government House, Uyo. Governor Emmanuel, who was represented by the Secretary to the state government and Chairman One-Stop Shop on Investment in the state, Dr. Emmanuel Ekuwem, hinted that the investors could be accommodated at the Ibom Industrial City, which also incorporates a free trade store zone and deep sea port. From the team of investors and president of Butcher Technologies, Mr. Guy Joken, said they were attracted to the state following positive reports on ease of doing business, as well as the transparency and accountability in the management of state resources by the present administration in the state. The federal government has assured that the harmonization of salaries of civil servants will be completed before the end of the year. Head of Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, gave the assurance in Abuja the head of service physical engagement and interview session with the African Initiative for Governance on the Public Service Leaders Programs. While lamenting that there was a huge difference between salaries in the public office, Dr. Esson said a lot of work is being done on salaries by the Presidential Committee on Harmonization of Salaries in the Public Service. According to her, efforts have been made to bring most people up and then also find what can be done with those that are already very high. You're listening to Radio Nigeria South South Zonal News at 3. Here are stories in the bulletin so far. Upper Court gives go-ahead for scheduled People's Democratic Party convention. Analysts call for the development of a second city in Bayelsa State. Still ahead, schools to reopen in Uganda after almost 2 years of closure due to COVID pandemic. Plus business, entertainment, sports, and commentary. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Exchange Group, PLC, Mr. Oscar Onyema, has commended the Chartered Institute of Stockbrokers for implementing its role and developing sound professionals for the capital market and the entire economy. For details of this and more on business news, let's join Austin Ine. And now we take a look at the foreign scene. Ugandan President Yoweri Museveni has announced that schools will be reopened in January, almost 2 years after they were closed because of the COVID pandemic. For more on foreign news, let's join Henrietta Brown. Nollywood star and lecturer in the Department of Theatre and Film Studies, University of Port Harcourt, Dr. Sam Dede, has expressed regrets that the nation's creative industry is not well structured to put food on the table of its practitioners. Dr. Dede, who is an expert in film and television production, acting, voice, and speech training in the arts department, stressed